Hey everybody, it's Priscilla Davis with a Mother's Touch Massage Therapy located in Covina, California. I am updating you today as of Monday, June 8th. I don't know about you, but my days are just kind of running into each other. But I have been meaning to get in touch with you guys, but I just have been actually so busy, and I didn't expect that, obviously, because I thought, well, I'm not working, so I'll have plenty of time to record tutorials, and that just didn't happen because real life happened. Emma needs tons of support, and we've been working on schoolwork and homework and keeping her entertained, and she's bored and she's anxious, and I get it. And so it's really just been taking care of that or taking care of her, and then trying to manage some sort of normalcy, dealing with other administrative things that we've had to take care of at home, and it's just been nuts. So it's not like particularly stressful, at least not like it was the last time I reached out to you guys. So I really wanted to reach out and say happy Mother's Day, and it just got away from me. And honestly, Mother's Day was just, by the time it came, I just really needed to take advantage of that day and milk it as much as I could, because I was just so tapped out. Emma has been like by my side 24/7, and I understand, and I'm not blaming her. This has been really tough. But I just, it takes a lot out of me to not have some personal space. And when I'm talking about she's by my side, like, I'll just go into the kitchen and she'll be on I'm trying to cook, and then I turn around, all of a sudden she's like right behind me, or she's like watching me on the other side of the pony wall like this, and it just startles me, and it's just like repetitive. I go to the restroom and she'll be right there, and I'm like, can I have some privacy, please? So definitely having some, I guess, separation anxiety. It's gotten better, but it's just been tough. So by the time Mother's Day came, I just milked it, and I was like, mommy needs a break, mommy needs some mimosas, daddy needs to handle business. So I just really took the day off. So I'm sorry I didn't wish you guys a happy Mother's Day. So I figured now is a good time to touch base with you. One, I have some time, and two, I'm getting a lot of phone calls and emails. So I know that the reason for the influx in messages and phone calls is because hair salons opened up. And I can see why people would put those two together and think that because one is open, the other one must be too, especially since I work inside of a hair salon. However, that's not how it's being categorized by the state or the county, and it's really by service and the risk with said service. So you have to understand that to help you understand, I should say, is like the hair salon portion, there's like a big wide space, usually, unless you go to like one of those little studios. But typically with hair salons, there's a big wide space, for air to flow. And because this is an issue of respiratory droplets, the risk for hair salons is significantly less than in a massage setting. So to give you an idea of how they're learning about this, or what they're learning about the virus, and how they're gauging the risk, right? So like, let's say you decide that you want to have a get together with family outside, and you're 6 feet apart, you're both wearing masks, or everybody's wearing masks and everybody's 6 feet apart, and you're outside in the open air. The chances of you transmitting or contracting the coronavirus are very, very slim. It's low. I don't want to say very, very slim. I strike that. So at least it's a lower risk, right? But now you get into a setting on the opposite spectrum, which is massage therapy. It's actually one of the higher risk activities. And the reason for that is because we're in a very small space, and we keep the door closed. In my room in particular, we don't have a window, so there's no fresh air coming in to circulate. A air purifier can only do so much. So, and yes, I'm looking into that. And we're in close proximity for a long period of time. So that's like, those are the factors, right? The longer you're in the same room with someone or in the close proximity to someone, and the closer proximity to someone, the higher your chances of contracting or transmitting the virus are. Now, let's add the extra layer of my husband's job. My husband works as a corrections officer, and because he's in close contact with lots of people, and they only have so many spaces to go, so they do have like a quarantine area, but my husband oftentimes has to go work in that quarantine area. And while he does have PPE, personal protective equipment, it's still a chance that he could be contracting the virus. And while he might not show symptoms and he might get sick, he can still bring it home. And then I might not get sick, but I can still carry it over to you, the client. And then you could potentially, same thing, you might not get sick, but you might take it to somebody who might get really sick. For us, the big concern, the number one concern, is Emma. So if you don't already know this about me, my daughter, Emma, has Down syndrome. Now, what does that have to do with anything? Well, people with Down syndrome have what's called immune dysregulation, right? Immune system dysregulation. So their immune system isn't as great as yours and mine if you're typically developing, unless you have another underlying condition. And I'll get to that in a second. So now you have a child who has an immune system that doesn't do so great. How do I justify, I just can't see myself putting her at risk. That's my number one concern. Also, there's no childcare for her right now. It's all me, right? And I might be able to work around my husband's hours, but then again, it comes back to the high risk of transmission and contraction. Okay? So now let's also talk that with Down syndrome, they tend to have a narrower airway system. So being that this is a respiratory disease, it could really, really hurt her. And it's incredibly scary to me. And I know that some people feel like this isn't a big deal because most people don't get it. And you know what? I'm happy for you if it's not a big deal to you, but it is a big deal to me and my family. And it's a big deal to me to keep you safe too. Even if you don't take it seriously, it's a big deal to me. So there's that. And then Emma has asthma, and she has an atrial septal defect, which is a heart defect. It's been corrected, but it's still an issue. It's still an underlying condition. So you add all those things in and you factor all those things, right? Just that alone is enough for me to stay away, okay? Because I've been getting calls asking if I'll make a house call, if I'll make an exception, if I'll, and it's just, to me, it's so disrespectful. It's such a disregard for my family's, for my daughter's safety, because most of my clients know this about my daughter, and I'm pretty open about it. But so I'm putting this out there because I want you to understand that I'm not making this decision lightly. And there's plenty of times that I feel guilty, and then I have to remind myself that my number one job is as a mother, and I have to do my best to keep my child safe. And then as a massage therapist, I take an oath too, and it says to do no harm. So I can't in good conscience go back to work knowing all of these factors, all of these risk factors at play. Now, the county and the state have not yet said it's okay for us to reopen. I think I said that. And again, the reason for that is because it's such a high risk. I don't know when they're going to give the okay, and I don't know what the guidelines for the state are going to be, or for the county. So we've not gotten any new information, so that's another reason I haven't really updated you guys, because I don't have any updates to give, except we don't know. Now, the guidelines that were sort of kind of pointed in the right direction didn't look like it was enough, because there's been other guidelines in other states that other states are kind of looking to for guidance that are much more strict, which I understand. And so some of those guidelines are going to require that I wear protective equipment of my own, not quite as intensely like, say, a nurse, right? But I'd have to wear a lab coat. I'd have to wear a mask during session, which makes sense. And you, the client, would have to wear a mask during your session. Now, when you are face down, there's always that discomfort of not being able to breathe. So now imagine you're face down with a mask. That's going to be super uncomfortable. So I just think about these things, and I know people are going to push back, but it's just important that I do everything I can to keep everybody safe. And those are just a few, just like a little sneak peek into what's potentially going to happen once we open up. Now, going back to the wearing the lab coat, you guys, if you've been into my office, you know in the summer the room gets really warm, and I'm not supposed to have a fan on. That's one of the other guidelines, because it helps like spread the virus just everywhere. So I'm not supposed to have a fan on. And while I have an AC vent in my room, it's not very strong. So again, now imagine me trying to work with a lab coat on in this hot room, and it's just not feasible. I just don't see it happening in the summer. So even if the state and county say that it's okay to open up sometime this summer, number one, again, just the risk factors for my daughter, and then the risk factors on my part for you. I don't want to take that gamble. Your life is too precious to me. My daughter's life is too precious to me. And so I don't see myself coming back before the fall. And I hope that you'll be patient with me, and I hope you understand. If you need to go somewhere else in the meantime, if somebody else opens, I totally understand and I get it. But these are the decisions that I've had to sit with, and really this is the only thing that I feel comfortable with. And it's not an easy decision. It's not, it's been tough, and I'll leave it at that. So just know that I'm trying to be as responsible as I can, because I just would rather err on the side of caution than to be too quick to come back out of guilt or just out of just eagerness to get back, and then it potentially hurting somebody. And the other thing is, most of my clients are, or a big chunk of my clients are over the age of 65, and that's already a risk factor. Anyone under that has any underlying conditions can't get massage. Anyone over 65 can't get massage yet, at least in the guidelines that we're looking at. So even when we do open up, and then pregnancy, that's a big chunk of my clientele. So you know what I mean? So these are the kinds of things that are at play. And so I've just decided it's just easier just to wait until Emma can safely have childcare. You know, even if I have to make alternate arrangements, I just want to make sure it's at a time that's safe for everyone. So I hope that answers questions. Again, if I had more information, I would be so happy to give it to you, but I don't have any more information. This is all I know for right now. I'm at this time, I'm still planning on reopening, but again, I'm not doing it until it's safe. So I hope you'll be patient with me, and I hope you'll wait. I hope you understand the circumstances, and I just want you to stay safe and be well. So that's pretty much it, and take care of yourselves. Make sure you're extra cautious out there. Please keep social distance. I know it's tough right now because it's been so long, but there is a second wave anticipated, and with everything going on right now, people being in very close contact and things opening up, I think that second wave is going to come back harder and quicker than we anticipated. So I ask you, out of concern for you, to please do your part. Wear your mask, keep your social distance, stay home as much as you can, and just stay healthy, okay? Just because I do care about you and I want to make sure you're okay. All right, getting off my soapbox. I send love to you, and I really hope that we can see each other soon. Take care. Bye bye.